I decided to share some of my thoughts on women and gender studies degrees. I once knew a radical feminist. She went into women and gender studies and became the president of the Women and Gender Studies Student Union and another university organization within a year of her Frosh Week. This was at a large Canadian university, and to this day they still offer the Women and Gender Studies program to undergraduate students. 7 years on and she has finally graduated, but has not been able to find a job in the industry. I find this sad because many of the feminists I see on YouTube and elsewhere rake in the pity dollars, and yet she is unable to make money plying the trade that she paid tens of thousands of dollars to be taught. After she graduated, she obtained a digital media certificate from a local college. People with less education than her, who paid far less for their credentials, make more money and are saddled with less debt at the end of the day. It is this fact that I find sad. From there she went on to work with women's support organizations. Just for the record, I have no problem with helping women or people in bad circumstances in general. There are women out there that need help. However, I find it really interesting, and a little suspicious, that women that complete women and gender studies degrees often don't use them unless they go into academic research, which many of them, a significant majority in my estimation, do not. Many of them graduate without any job prospects and end up having to turn to college institutions to fill in the gaps in their post-secondary education. They would have been better off going to college to get useful skills in something other than topics like post-colonial theory, patriarchy, and women's history. Not only are these programs useless from a business perspective, they are also hateful and bigoted towards half the human race. I also met another women and gender studies graduate while doing a stage production last August. She talked about her degree but then was quick to point out that she doesn't use it anymore. Instead, she has turned back to instructing dance and theater in order to pay the bills, and even then she wasn't being paid to do the smaller productions. Sound familiar? Seems like women and gender studies graduates don't use their degrees and end up going on to something else after. Unlike myself and many others I know that have graduated from STEM programs, we were in debt but had something to show for it at the end of the day. Within 2 years of graduating I had paid off my debt and had a small amount of savings. Not bad for an entry-level engineering job. Women and gender studies graduates may be able to say the same thing, but I am betting that most of them can't and had to move on to something more practical in order to make ends meet. At the end of the day I am satisfied with my STEM education and continue to sharpen my critical thinking skills every day I am on the job. I have something to show for all my hard work and investment in a STEM education. Women and gender studies graduates have nothing to show in terms of marketable skills and then have all of this debt to pay off at the end of a 4-year university bachelor program. If I were running my life like a business, which I do actually, I would look at the ROI, that's return on investment, of taking a women and gender studies degree. I would look at the number of graduates each year, which ones end up finding a job in their field of study and which ones do not. I would look at the long-term prospects of the job, namely what happens to students 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25 years down the line. What did they make of themselves? And what did they accomplish with their degrees? For engineers, most get whittled out in university and the rest either discover an even greater passion or give up once they are out of the engineering culture and no longer have the push of university to propel them towards completion. For gender studies students I am betting that only the ones that complete master's and doctorate degrees end up using the knowledge that they learned. Even then the women I know in gender studies suck at math, and if you were going to become a master's or doctor's student, you might need to know at least how a Gaussian distribution works, or failing that at least of the other distributions where they apply. This requires a knowledge of mathematics and a little critical thinking to weed out the biases in experiments and data manipulation that could in the end affect results. Neither of these skills do gender studies undergrads learn unless they specifically ask for it in their curriculum. In that case, why the hell would you go into gender studies anyways? You could make a far more lucrative career going into one of the STEM fields or opening your own business and avoiding the university path altogether. Anyways, these are just some of my observations on women and gender studies degrees. I hope that someone watching this that plans to take a degree in the near future takes a second look at the ROI on these degrees. Honestly, you can find something else that you'll be good at doing and can actually make money. Stay away, I say, and have a good day.